There's recent footage that is circulating out of Alexandria, Virginia, of some guys in some creepy Halloween costumes that people have sent me going, John, how should I respond to this as a self-defender? Well, let's talk about it. Download the Asp Unlimited app for all the content you love from active self-protection and more with no interference from YouTube. No ads, no age gates, exclusive videos, seminars, classes, and more on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, and Android TV. Hit the link in the description or download Asp Unlimited from your app store today. So the video in question is super creepy, right? You see these guys standing there in creepy Halloween costumes saying, come outside. If you don't come out, we're coming in. And apparently they stand there for 10 minutes. And the person had called the cops. The cops didn't get there before the creepy Halloween costume wearing, I would guess, teenagers have run off. And they said at the very end, we'll be back. And people are like, wait, what do I do here? Well, to put a fine point on it, you do exactly what the homeowner did, right? I love the fact there's a couple of interesting things here. I'm not going to put this one on the main channel because I think that there's, it's what's on the camera is probably not best for main channel. It's probably best for over here. What I really see there that I think that is important to note is that number one, our homeowner used their doorbell camera, which is perfect. Leave your door locked. I think this is a good argument for a security screen door on your house as well, right? So I think a good security screen door with a lock and just leave your front door locked and barred and talk to them. If you feel like you have to talk to them through your doorbell camera. It's 2025, almost 2026, and there is no excuse to not have a doorbell camera at this point that you could talk to whomever through it. And almost all of them now, you can talk to them from anywhere in the world where you have data. So you could be in Timbuktu and talking to them through your Ring doorbell camera. But if you're in the home, and I think our homeowner was in the home, I think the correct answer here is, you see somebody in a bunch of clown costumes and it's not Halloween night, and you're not out handing out candy to kids, fine. Don't answer your door, number one. You don't even have to answer on your doorbell camera, quite frankly. You can just be silent. You just look at that and go, I'm not answering that. I'm not messing with that. And you don't even have to let them know that you're around. Now, if you want to say, hey, I want them to know I'm in the home so that dissuades them from coming in, fine. I think that's okay. When they start going, come outside and we're, if you don't come out, we're coming in. That's when I think you call the cops, right? I do think it is absolutely wise at that point to call 911 and say, hey, I've got some guys outside in some really creepy Halloween costumes and they are threatening to break in my door. Now, of course, I think the important part of this here and something to be aware of is, would it be okay to be armed while you're doing that? Yes, unequivocally, yes, you can be armed. I have, and for me and for mine, I'm going to get my long gun out here. I'm going to get the home defense shotgun out here for sure, because 8 pellets of double-aught buck is compelling, right? Now, not, I'm hoping never ever to use that, but to be ready with it, yes, absolutely and unequivocally. If they're standing at the front door, I don't want to be standing right in front of that door, but taking up a good defensive position and just hanging out and like, all right, well, I'm just going to hang out here in a good defensive position where they can't see me, but I will be able to see them if they start breaking that door in. Now, I would not shoot through the door. Let me say it again. I would not shoot through the door because it's very difficult to articulate an imminent threat of death or great bodily injury shooting through a locked door, which of course your door should be locked. And your exterior doors should be case hardened. You should do the smart things. I think a security screen door is smart. Obviously, I think hardened locks are smart. I think at the very least, go to the hardware store and get those big, 3-inch case hardened screws and take all of the door hardware off your door and put those big, long 3-inch case hardened screws in where your hinges are, in where your deadbolt bolts into the door knob mechanism on your door. Those should all be those big old long 3-inch case hardened screws. So then that way they are almost impossible to kick in your door. Those go all the way through the shims and the door jamb all the way into the studs that are in your walls. And so that makes it almost impossible to kick your door down. Just that right there. Now, you can go online and get, door kick-proof shims and stuff too, and ledges and all those things. You can do all that, or you can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, hardware store, whatever, and buy a $20 box of screws and do just the same without the expense, or a lot less expense. So if you've got all that, then I think it's great to have the firearm. I wouldn't even point the firearm at the door. I would have it, low ready. Get yourself in a barricaded position if you have that capability in your home, and get on the phone with 911 when they say, if you don't come out, we're coming in. And the milkshake that will bring all the boys to the yard. I know this from some similar experience, is when you say, hey, there's somebody at my door threatening to break in. That may or may not bring the police around in any kind of a timely manner. Police response times, they're overworked and they're understaffed. When you say, hey, these guys are threatening to break in my front door and I'm armed and behind that door, and if one of them breaks in my door, I'm going to shoot one of them. That will usually step you up into a much higher priority class of call. Now, of course, a couple of things that come from that. So if the cops go, hey man, we're en route. Okay, fine. Now 911 may want you to sit on the phone with 911 the whole time, if possible. So say if husband and wife are home, or it's 2025, husband, wife, you guys get my point. Then have the non-defending spouse on the phone, and the defending spouse unitasking, right? Just being there at the front door, or if you're talking to the people on the outside through the Ring camera, fine. But don't be on the phone with 911 too. You want your other significant other, if possible. If not, if you can't possibly do that, okay, fine. If you got to be the one. But then again, if they start breaking down the door, that's the time to use deadly force, right? So if they actually decide, I'm going to break down the door. Now, I know some people are going to ask, well, John, what if? Remember, we can what if scenarios to death. What happened here? What did we see on the door cam? They got tired of it after 10 minutes and left. Perfect. Great. I didn't have to shoot anybody. I've got them on video. Are the cops going to do anything about it? Probably not. But the crisis is averted. My home is safe. My home defense plan worked. Life is good. Carry on. If they go around the back or something like that, well, you got to look, okay, wait a minute. Now, can I put myself in a place that I can see both, my back doors and my front door? And again, I don't encourage shooting people through locked doors, because the getting to the place of imminence, unless they have a gun and they're threatening you with that gun through a door, there can always be circumstances, I guess. But as for the most part, right? You guys armed with a crowbar and he's on the other side of a locked door. Cool. He can't get to me with the crowbar on the other side of the locked door. I'm safe. If I don't have loved ones out there. He starts breaking that door down, different story, right? Now he's breaching my defenses. There's nothing I can do. If I don't shoot him right now, he's going to kill me. Go to work. All right, cool. And so otherwise though, just wait for the cops to show up. Now, if the cops do show up here, and they should show up pretty quick. I had this instance, this is, golly, man, I guess about maybe 10 years ago at my home, where I was absolutely sure 3:00 in the morning, and my back shed with a bunch of stuff, somebody's in my back shed stealing stuff out of my back shed in my house. We live in the suburbs. And so, I see that my dogs are freaking out. I shine a bright light. I can't see what's going on in there because the angles aren't quite right. And I don't want to skyline myself real well. So, I told my wife, get on the phone with 911 and tell them we need officers here, because there's guys in our back shed. So then, of course, the 911 dispatcher is like, well, do you really know that? Could it be a wild animal? What's going on there? And I tell my wife, tell them I'm armed. And she says, my husband has a shotgun. And they go, we are en route. Tell your husband to put the shotgun away. And I said, yeah, I will put it away when they get here. And so just again, protected my family, made sure I wasn't going out after them. And then when the police got there, I made sure the shotgun was put down in a safe condition, and that it was, action open and no shells in it. As soon as I saw the reds and blues, cool, put it down. Let them do their thing, and then was still on the phone with 911 and said, okay, so you let me know when you want me to come out the front door to talk to the officers. When and so on the phone with dispatch, you let me know when officers want me to come out there. If they want to go look through the backyard and all that stuff first, That's fine. I'm not going outside. And I know they're here. So when do you want me to do? Okay, we want you to come to the front door with nothing in your hands. You bet. Let the officers know I'm coming out in 10 seconds. Okay, so cool. That gives her a second to go tell the officers through the radio. All right, cool. Open the front door. Hi, officers. How are you? And they ended up clearing the place. In my case, come to find out, it was actually my next door neighbor in his shed at 3 o'clock in the morning because he had some really bad insomnia. But it sure sounded like he was in mine, and we all had a good laugh over it, and the cops went about their day. But let me tell you, it did bring the boys to the yard much quicker when they knew that I was armed. Everything was fine. So that's how I would handle that. I think that it looks to me like this homeowner did a great job of handling the problem of using the door camera. I think that doorbell camera is such a useful thing. And you can get one of those so cheap now. They're like, I've seen them for $100, for goodness sakes. And so having one of those so that you can communicate if you need to, so you can see what's going on there. I think you can get a lot more expensive security and surveillance systems for around the outside of your house. And if you can afford that, great. I mean, I think that's a very valuable thing to have, perimeter surveillance cameras so you can see all around your property. You know what's going on around the exterior of your property. Some people even doing it on the interior of their property these days. Fine, great. But at least having the doorbell one, super cheap, right? Super easy. It connects to the cloud. Really a no-brainer to have. And don't go out there. They're like, come outside. Heck no, I'm not that stupid. Don't do that, right? Make sure that you've done a little bit of work beforehand to harden your exterior doors, not just your front door, all your doors, right? Those case hardened screws are a cheap way to really make it difficult to kick a door in. And having a good deadbolt on every external door, really smart. Don't go out there and confront those guys. That would be really stupid because you might end up in a gunfight that you don't have to get into. Call the cops, let the cops get there, respond to them appropriately without a gun in your hand. And I wouldn't even put it on a holster or sling your rifle. That's when you want, again, when you see the reds and blues, and they'll have the reds and blues on, you'll know when they get there to the outside. Put that gun down, in a safe condition, empty chamber, and action open. And then, nothing in your hands when you go and address the police. Really smart. This is the kind of stuff that happens around Halloween. Let's be ready for it in case it happens to us so that we can very smartly cover our asp.